Thank you, sir. Our chief guest for today, General Anil Chauhan, PVSM, UYSM, AVSM, SM, VSM, is very well known amongst the uniformed fraternity. For many of us who are here from the industry and new to the armed forces, let me briefly say that General Chauhan commanded an infantry battalion along the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir, a mountain brigade in Manipur, an infantry division in the Kashmir Valley, and a corps in the northeast. He has been at headquarters in Trad, Bhutan, military observer on a UN mission to Angola, chief of staff, headquarters 15 Corps, and Director General of Discipline, Ceremonial and Welfare. He was the Director General of Military Operations during the Balakot airstrike. He was the General Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Eastern Command for close to 2 years. Later, he served as a military advisor to the National Security Council Secretariat. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I invite the Chief of Defense Staff to deliver the inaugural address. Over to you, sir.
Secretary, Department of Defense Production, Shri Sanjeev Kumar, Director General of Senjos, Major Ashok Kumar, Chief Editor of Indian Military Review, Major Ashok Arora, distinguished guests, officers, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to all of you. Let me start by saying that I'm very, very happy and glad to be part of this Indigenization and Import Substitution Initiative, Defense Partnership Days. I like something all new and novel always, actually. And this particular concept of having B2B, business to business, and business to government kind of meetings, I think was a great idea when it was first told to me, about which the DG just mentioned. And we've carried this idea forward, and I must compliment the Indian Military Review, KPMG, and Senjos for for this particular initiative. Let me say that India today is at the cusp of global optimism. We have already become the 5th largest economy in the world, and as we march ahead on the path of progress and prosperity, we believe that self-reliance and indigenous defense capabilities are the foundations to enduring peace, at least in our neighborhood. India's security landscape necessitates a robust and self-reliant defense sector. Most of us in seminars like this actually start by recalling the number of initiatives which the government has taken over a period of time, and most of them are in open domain, and most of you are aware of this. So what I want to actually bring out is this Atmanirbharta initiative. When we all started Make in India first about 10 years back and then graduated to Atmanirbharta, we already are a bit late actually. We should have started this initiative much before that, but they're saying that it's better late than never. Since we started this particular initiative slightly late, I think there's a lot of catching up to do, and that's why what General Ashok was mentioning, that time is critical for us. We need to catch up for all that lost time that we have. So I think what we need to do is all those people who are involved in this process of defense manufacturing, they all need to come together, whether it is the users, that means the 3 services, then is the defense industry, both private and DPSU. It could be MSMEs to large corporate houses, new entrants to accomplished companies. R&D institutions like the government, the DRDO, the industry and the academia, whether they are individuals or part of institutes. Then of course, the government body, that's us, the policy makers. So all of us got to be on the same page if we need to do this catch up for what lost time I was talking about. So the number of players actually in this whole game are many, especially in the private industry, and there are large number of interests which guides the actions of all these particular groups, and they could range from commercial interests of profit and orientation of individuals to either gain name individually or as a collectively for their institution. But I think there is one common thread which binds all of us, and that is national interests. So this is the glue of national interests. It binds all these elements which I spoke about, and this has to be essential. Otherwise, this whole thing, what we're talking about, will not work. So India has opened up its defense industry through reforms. It has opened up to private industry through joint ventures, FDI, etc. But I believe that we are yet to open up our minds, actually. And to really succeed, I believe that we have to follow the principle of what I've been advocating as 4 I's, that is to be innovative, inventive, ingenious, and imaginative. Today, actually, in my talk, I'll not talk about government policies, I will talk of ideas, actually. So, let me look at the armed forces, and for that matter, every armed forces, means any nation, actually, it comprises, they have all have 3 types of inventories. One is the inventory that is nearing obsolescence, some is contemporary systems, and then there is the state of art or futuristic systems, which they intend actually inducting into the services. So in the B2B and B2G talks today, I'm sure we'll focus on sustenance of these first 2 parts. That's the large inventory which we have, which is nearing obsolescence, and contemporary systems. The idea being to reduce import dependency, and that's what the theme of this particular seminar is. And this is to be done of existing platforms by Indigenization of, say, spare parts, getting ammunition, and all these tasks are challenging. But I think they are also simple in some manner, because the designs of all this are available to us in India. The more challenging task would be actually to upgrade these existing systems which are obsolete and extend their life. This will require, I think, a very innovative and inventive kind of use, and we can also think of using this towards putting them to future use. So we've all heard of this little term, in India known as jugaad, and this is what India is famous for. We need to not only modify and upgrade the existing inventory, but also think of alternate methods, actually. So one thing could be, we're all talking about unmanned warfare today, or manned and unmanned teaming, MUMT, which has become popular. It's becoming popular, and maybe one of the trends of future warfare will be toward this. So one thing, this obsolete inventory, I think it could be put into use as unmanned kind of systems. And they are participating with something which is very contemporary, advanced, or futuristic systems. They both operate together in the same kind of environment. We could also use, in case we develop these obsolete systems as unmanned systems, we can also use them for as Red Force, which will be giving you a realistic kind of a feel in real to battlefield conditions. They could also be used for target practice. We normally do it on static targets. So imagination is the world as to how to use this kind of inventory which is becoming obsolescence, apart from increasing its life. We have to think slightly differently. As a CDS, I would actually hate to put all these pieces in museums or at crossroads of various military cantonments which you normally see. I think we're going to take out the last ounce of the money which we have spent on obtaining these platforms and running them through. That is how we should be seeing these particular platforms. Let's talk about contemporary systems which are in use. The performance of such systems also, I believe, can be improved by innovations and enlarging their functions. Maybe today we talk about net-centric warfare, data-centric. We could network platforms and enhance their capabilities. So I would give a small example. We have this T-90 tank, which has got a 125 mm smoothbore gun, and it fires FSDS, heat, and ATGM, all 3, and they're at a ranges of almost about 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 meters. That's what presently the capabilities of a T-90 tank. But if you are able to network these tanks, provide them enhanced, situational awareness, so beyond, say, 5 kilometers, and we have loiter ammunition. If we network them together, probably these tanks will be able to engage at, say, 20 kilometers, 15 kilometers for what they are. So we got to think slightly differently as to how are we going to exploit systems. Why I'm bringing this out is the industry over here is not here only to just sustain those systems, just making spare parts. We have to think slightly differently if we have to catch up with the rest of the countries. Effective utilization of existing platforms is the job of the user. He needs to actively collaborate with the scientists and academia to put it to a different kind of a use, extend its life, use it slightly differently for than what it was. The third thing which I said would be the futuristic kind of systems. We need to develop our way of fighting and their development and integrate systems and processes that helps towards fructification of this particular concept of how we are going to fight in our kind of environment, our kind of terrain. We should be able to aim to be ahead or in line with the advanced militaries rather than playing this catch-up little game which I was speaking about. You know, today we all know that we are the cusp of third revolution in military affairs, where large number of technologies are actually competing with each other to revolutionize warfare. And combat, which is an essential element of warfare, is increasingly becoming intelligent, digitized, decentralized, transparent, and multi-domain. So we have to think of these new concepts which are going to actually revolutionize warfare, and how the industry is going to help the defense forces actually to achieve its ends, what is aiming for. So warfare, you all know, is evolving fast, and I believe that the side which fails to adapt or adopt may be left behind. One of the things I've been talking about in this context is tactics-led kind of modernization. In this, the tactics-led modernization approach, the combatants or the executive branches actually lead the process of product development, platform and systems that support the CONOP, the concept of operations, how we are going to fight. And in this particular kind of an approach, there will be a core team which will be needed, a range of technologies and systems, whether they exist, we'll have to, or means either in India or abroad, how do we get them, integrate together, and then develop a different kind of a system for war fighting. This concept will require seamless integration between the services, defense industry, research and development institutions, and academia to remain ahead of the curve. So we are in an era of Indigenizing our defense industry. The bulk of this effort is towards it. We need to graduate into an era of inventing something new. Let me now talk about how do we implement whatever I've been saying actually. There's a saying that, you know, that average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people, and great minds discuss ideas. We're here to discuss ideas actually, and that should be the aim of this particular conclave, and to make Indian defense industry competitive and aligned to the needs of the armed forces, while overall working under the rubric of Atmanirbharta. I'm also cognizant of the saying that ideas are easy actually, it's the implementation actually that's difficult. We need to address the problem of all this, how do you get these ideas into implementation, by policy formulation. A good policy, I believe, is not only a lubricant, but also is a catalyst to reforms, and that I think is important. We all know that the smallest of MSMEs to the largest of corporate houses to DPSUs, they are ready to invest in technology, ideas, and novel technologies and methods, provided they have long-term kind of assurances from the buyers. I think there's a need for us to build a system of trust between, at very various levels. There's a need to develop trust between OEMs and tier 1 suppliers. These tier 1s could be DPSUs or private defense industry, between tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers. Unless this trust is there between us, this thing will not work. And the biggest trust has to come about between the users, that's the 3 services, and the OEMs. There's a need for long-term assurances and partnerships. It will help the defense industry to invest in quality and work out things with speed. In defense manufacturing, the large risk is in research and development, much more than defense manufacturing, because over here the end product is still not very clear. And this is where I think we all need to contribute and help the R&D organizations. Some of the policy initiatives, these are maybe just a figment of my imagination and whatever I keep thinking, I thought I'll share it with you. Say, let's talk about, say, our DAP 2020, which actually allows us only in investment of procurement of platforms. Platforms that are fully formed in a tangible system, and they exist and have it probably battle proven actually. So we are only investing in this. We are not investing in technologies, we are not investing in ideas. I think there is a need to change. We should be able to invest in technology and ideas even if the final outcome of all this is slightly nebulous. We are talking about emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, quantum technologies, whose full potential actually is yet to be realized even by advanced militaries. So unless we are able to invest in future, we will not be able to march with the advanced militaries in the same future which we are talking about. The second is actually a funding gap. We all know that investments in defense manufacturing, it requires a lot of time to accrue returns actually, and the time gap in defense R&D could be even longer, and it's here. The outcome of R&D is actually uncertain. So apart from what I said, that we should be able to maybe we should be able to invest in ideas and technology, we could think of something like defense banks, which offers loans directly to users at a simplified terms, and other than finally projects like IDEX and TDF, in which we are investing directly the government money. The third suggestion which I have is to issue out defense policies in emerging technologies like space, artificial intelligence, quantum, autonomous systems, cyber, and give some direction to the industry as to how the Indian armed forces are thinking they'll be fighting in future. So that's about 10. And this is in addition to the TPCR actually, the technology perspective, which we will get out along from our ICDP. So a TPCR would be mostly, if it is derived from ICDP, it's platform centric. It is not actually about ideas. So I'm thinking of issuing out policies for space, cyber, quantum, such kind of mission, so that the industry has a fair idea as to where we are going. Another idea is about tactical trials. The way I said warfare is evolving fast. Unless we react to this emerging technologies very fast and incorporate them into our fighting systems actually, then we'll be left behind. So for instance, say like the multiple type of drones, and for multiple uses they are being put forward to. So in such kind of this thing, we want to use a particular technology or a particular system which exists and see how it is going to get integrated into our fighting forces. So maybe armor warfare or artillery or target acquisition surveillance. And it is over here idea of a tactical trials. That means we get this equipment which is available at the fastest without waiting for its scaling, GeoSQR formulation. So whatever is available, we use it first, see whether tactically it can be used in warfare. And in fact, you should be able to get, as I'm quoting at some places, that F1 vendor, that's the fastest available, should be the one, so that you beat the time cycle, which is in some measure the DG was mentioning about. So we have to create something new, which I'm talking about, and to create something new, you'll have to discard the old. And that's a challenge actually, and there sometimes I've been using this term known as creative destruction. Well, it looks like an oxymoron, in which how can destruction be very creative, but I think we'll have to do that. And some of the ideas which I gave about before, discard what we could do actually creatively. So we'll have to start this process of learning by actually unlearning or unlearning, and we'll have to invest, discard, reinvest in a manner which is creative and helps absorption of new processes and technologies. So we'll have to find out, we'll have to generate new ideas, new concepts, use them, exploit them fast, and then discard them and look for new ideas. So it is something similar to what I've been saying, the Hindu trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, which is equivalent to creation, preservation, and destruction. So in future, all of us, all, which I said the four elements, will have to personify all those concepts into one. That means constantly learning, exploiting, evolving new ideas, and then discarding and learning something new. So in conclusion, finally, it remains for me to thank the organizers for having brought together important stakeholders for ideation on challenges, opportunities, and the way ahead for promoting Indigenization and import substitution. I look forward for getting a positive feedback from this particular interaction. Unfortunately, I will not be available for the complete duration of this particular event because of other commitments, but I look forward to a positive feedback from General Ashok. With these words and thoughts, I wish the very best to each one of you in all your future endeavors. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and Jai Hind. to identify